So, Doug, at Grace Agenda this year, you're doing a talk called It's All in Girard, Man. Could you preview that talk for us?
I could if I had written it. So I have some tentative exploratory thoughts toward that end, but I haven't written the talk yet. But this is the outline of where I'd want to go. We are currently in our culture in crisis. Like we're in a free fall crisis. It's not left wing versus right wing. It's just everything's gone nuts. Everything's gone mad. There are a number of helpful key insights that Girard offers, but I think one of them is particularly pertinent to this time, and that is societies can get in a state where they go into what Girard would call a sacrificial crisis. The sacrifices to the old gods don't work anymore.
Okay.
Everything, it just keeps coming up empty. Think of it another way, that societies, and this is true of denominations, it's true of churches, it's true of villages, towns, cities, cultures, are like a thunderhead cloud.
Right.
You get to a certain size and it's a thunder bumper, big thundercloud. And there's an electrical charge in there that has to go somewhere. All right, there's going to be lightning. In that setting, the lightning is going to strike something. And in pagan societies, that something is the scapegoat. The ancient Athens, they kept a stable of homeless guys, criminals, called the pharmakoi.
Okay.
Where when this electrical charge of mimetic envy and anger and people are biting at each other, it gets to a certain level, they'd bring out one of the pharmakoi and stone him to death. Right? Okay. So the crowd would vent on somebody. And there would be a cathartic release. Animal sacrifices was a subbing in for that.
Okay.
And then spectacle at athletic events is a substitute for that. Right. So what you want to do is have the worst thing in the world would be to have a Super Bowl that was like 73-2.
Right.
Right. Because that's not going to give you the cathartic release. What you want is a cliffhanger down to the last 30 seconds, a tight game, and everybody's all wound up, and then right. That's just a psychological thing. That's how people are wired, and that's an adaptation that people have made. And when the old systems don't work anymore, which the American athletics, the American center, all of us just quit working.
The spectacles of America.
They just quit working. And there are all sorts of Girardian reasons for that also. When they quit working, what happens is violence. That's one of the things that people resort to, just as your attempts to tame everybody down moves from human sacrifice to animal sacrifice to athletic competitions to blockbuster summer movies. Right, you're going down. When nothing works anymore, people start to work their way back up the
So
scale.
you would put a line connecting increasing spectacle in American athletic events, Super Bowl, halftime shows.
I would.
Increasing spectacle in our movies, budget, where every single movie, the whole world is at stake and everything's being blown up.
Right.
To the riots over the last couple summers.
Yes. And it's the law of diminishing returns. Those are substitutes where you're trying to get, and my dad, who's never read a word of Girard anywhere, I don't think, has great Girardian instincts. One time many years ago, when Nate was a small boy, Nate and my dad and I went to a football game up at the Kibbe Dome here at the U of I. Place was full of yelling, hollering fans, carrying on, doing all this. And we walked into the stadium to go find our seats, and my dad looked around at all this crowd whooping it up. And he said, well, it's better than a public hanging. Basically, those sorts of things are crowd control. Everything gets out of control. Then the crowds try to take matters into their own hands, but somebody's behind all of it, fomenting it. There's someone playing a game with this. They're trying to wreck the old order and establish a new order. And America's in sacrificial crisis. The Christian response to this ought to be that Christ is God's final answer to the sacrificial crisis. The crucifixion of Jesus was the death of envy, the ultimate lightning rod to take the wrath of man,
Uh-huh.
that falls under the wrath of God. Only the preaching of the cross can fundamentally deal with this energy that we have as sinners.
So if that's the case, then do I need to repent of like enjoying watching Division I football or going to a Avengers movie or something like because these are all pieces of our culture that we're all participating in. Is that
Right.
problematic or?
It's problematic when it occupies the wrong place in your life.
Okay.
So if someone is the person who is such a football fan that it's idolatrous. If somebody sacrificed a garlanded bull at halftime at Super Bowl and nobody would notice it because it just fits right in,
Right.
something is wrong,
Okay.
right? And when you simply had, that was an exciting Saturday afternoon at the college football game.
Yeah.
That's just human entertainment.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But when you're looking to that sort of thing for your salvation, for your peace of mind,
When it starts to take on a significance in your life that belongs
that
to your
absolutely
faith.
ought not to have, and then it's not going to do the trick, right? And that's where you step onto the secular conveyor belt that's going to move. You need more and more and more. It's like it's like an addiction.
Thank you.